Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here then welcome. Today I am filming for you part 1 of my Q&A answers videos, and this is all about the Open University. And part 1 I am focusing on questions that I've asked about things more related to my personal experience than just general questions. So part 1, which is this video, is going to be all about kind of me, my experiences, and just answering your questions about what it's like as a student studying with the Open University. Part 2 will be more technical questions, things like where are exams held, things about fees, etc, etc. I do already have a couple of videos which I have linked down below that may answer some of those questions already, so do check them out in the meantime whilst you're waiting for part 2 of this video. But I'm just going to crack on and answer some of your questions. Okay, so question number 1, and it's the question that I get asked quite a lot by a lot of people, and that is, what am I studying? I am studying a degree in business management, so all of my modules are business related, etc, etc. Question number 2 is, am I studying because I enjoy the subject, or is it for a specific career? So I'd have to say that my answer is a mixture of the two. I do enjoy studying business. I have particular interest in sort of marketing and consumer behaviour, things like that. So I like to look at how people behave, how they buy products, and how businesses market products to consumers. That's my main interest. Obviously I'm studying business management as like a general thing, so I'm not only studying marketing, I'm studying sort of all the different functions of business, and I think that is mainly to give me the best chance of being able to progress within a career in business at some point. Obviously I'm not entirely sure on what my exact career plans are at the moment, because I am currently on maternity leave, but eventually I am hoping to use this degree towards my career. A lot of the jobs that I was looking at before I started studying, they did say they required some sort of degree level qualification, so I just think that in the long run, if it's a subject that I enjoy, which it is, then gaining it now and then being able to use it later will just be valuable for me. So question number 3 is, did I have a particular degree in mind, or did I just browse what was available and pick one? So basically, when I started with the Open University, I didn't start on a business management degree route, I started on an open degree route. And an open degree is basically where you can sort of cherry pick modules that you find interesting and sort of build your own degree. So at the end of it, you'd get your certificate, and your certificate would say that you've gained an open degree, rather than a degree in business management or a degree in humanities, etc. But after my first 60 credits, I realised that all of the modules that were of interest to me were all business related. So I thought, well, I might as well switch to the business management route, where you can still pick some of your modules. Obviously there are a few compulsory modules though if you take a specific module route, whereas the open route, you can pick whatever modules you want. You're not sort of set on like a set path, and you don't only have specific ones to choose from. But since I was picking business modules anyway, for me it made sense to switch from the open degree to the business degree. But I started on the open degree just so it gave me that bit of flexibility, because I still wasn't entirely sure, and I liked the idea of being able to sort of tailor my degree to my interests. But since all my interests ended up being business related anyway, it made sense for me to then start the business degree side of things. Question 4. Did I consider going to a normal university? Yes, I did consider it when I was younger. However, I dropped out of sixth form, so I never actually finished my A-levels. Instead, I was working 2 jobs. So I was working in New Look, and I was also working as a nursery nurse in a nursery. And I didn't know what I wanted to do. When I left those 2 jobs, I started working at a dental practice, and at the dental practice I became a qualified dental nurse. I then got a job in London in a private dental practice, starting out as a nurse and finishing up as head receptionist at that dental practice. And it was in that role that I really kind of found my interest for business. I was given a lot more freedom to try and help market the practice. My practice manager went on maternity leave, so I had a bit more sort of experience kind of delegating tasks to people, trying to sort of help run the team as part of the team, if that makes sense. And we were also trying to brainstorm different ways, like I said, of marketing the practice to members of the public, and I found that really interesting. And I found the whole process of trying to like convert customers, trying to watch the profits grow, etc, etc, I found that really motivated me. So it was then that I decided, actually I think it is now time for me to study, and that's when I started looking into degrees in business. But I didn't want to study at the time when I was 17, 18 because I didn't know what I wanted to study, and I thought it would be a waste of money, a waste of time if I just picked some random degree just for the sake of it because all my friends were going to university. There's plenty of jobs that you can do out there that don't require a degree, and I got to a point where I thought that it was the right time for me to study, but I didn't want to give up work completely, so the Open University was the right choice for my circumstances because it meant I could continue to work. And obviously since starting my degree I fell pregnant, but it's meant I can continue to study whilst pregnant, I can continue to study when my baby is born, and by the time I go back to work I will have finished my degree. So for me it was just the perfect choice. Question number 5. Do I plan to switch career when I finish my degree, and what is my employer's response to my studying? So my employer has actually been really helpful in terms of, during my second year I reduced my hours slightly, so I'm now, well I'm not now, I'm now on maternity leave, but I was working 30 hours a week, so I was doing 3 full days and 2 half days, and that's because I did start to struggle balancing working, being pregnant and studying a degree all at the same time, which I think is fair enough, because I am studying 120 credits in a year, which is the equivalent of full-time study, whilst working, whilst being pregnant, whilst moving house, etc, etc. So I've had a lot going on in the last year, and my employer has been very supportive, but I have always made it clear from the start, from when I even started working for the company, that once I finished my degree I would be looking for a job that kind of was more suited to what my qualifications will be at the point when I finish. So obviously I'm due to go back to work when I finish my degree, but I won't have yet graduated, and I have said to my employer that I would like to stay within the company if possible, but it is not like definite that I'll stay there forever if they can't offer me a position that I feel suits my degree and suits my knowledge and ability at that point. And they've been very understanding of that, because I've been honest with them from the start and they've been honest with me from the start, and it's just about having that conversation with your employer, so everybody knows where they stand, and then that way it's all very transparent. I'm not hiding anything from them, and as far as I'm aware they're not hiding anything from me. So if I do choose to leave once I've graduated, it's not going to come as a shock to them. They're not going to say, oh well, we helped you, blah 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 blah, and this is how you repay us, because I've said from the start. However, they also know that I do want to stay with the company if they can offer me something, so hopefully since I've been there through that period of time while studying, they'll be able to accommodate me into a role somewhere, but we'll just have to wait and see. Only time will tell. But obviously I will have had a year off by the time I graduate from my maternity leave, so like I said, we'll just have to see how things go. But whether I take a complete career change or how my career is going to progress, I don't really know yet, because obviously I'm going to have a small baby as well, so I have to think about that. But I'm hoping that everything will just work out in the end, like it usually does. I tend to just wing it, so we'll see how things go. Stay tuned to find out what happens. Okay, so question number 6. On days when studying hasn't gone well and I'm feeling stressed, how do I respond to questions about my progress? To be quite honest, on days when I'm stressed, if people ask me how I'm getting on, I do tend to be a bit snappy. That could be from anyone. That could be if Jack asks me, that could be if any of my family ask me, if someone at work asks me. I can get a bit kind of not hot-headed about it, but I tend to put myself down even though I don't need to, because I have actually done really well, especially considering my circumstances with, like I said, working full-time, being pregnant, moving house. I've still managed to get really good grades, so I should really be proud of myself. However, I do put myself down a lot, which isn't good, and I don't recommend you do that when you study. So I can be a bit of a, I don't know, it can be a bit of a mope on days when I get stressed. But then I remember at the end of the day how far I have come, how much I am juggling at the same time as studying, and I just have to sit there and think about, you know, what it is that I am actually achieving. I think at the end of the day, one bad day, one stressful day of studying isn't going to ruin my whole degree. One bad assignment mark isn't going to ruin my overall score, etc, etc. So it's just about looking at the bigger picture. You're always going to have bad days when you're studying. You're never going to have every single day be absolutely perfect. So it's just about, you know, looking at it in the long term, looking at like the broader perspective, and kind of looking at it as just one bad day and it's not the end of the world. And when I start to look at it like that, and then once I get the work done afterwards, I tend to feel a lot better, and that's when I can say, yeah, I am actually doing really well. But if you catch me off guard, then I tend to sort of I do put myself down, but it doesn't last long, and then I go back to saying, no, I am actually, you know, I am actually doing well. Not to sound big-headed, obviously, but I have worked hard. So, question number 7. How did I find the workload in my first year compared to my second? Would I have done anything differently? Well, for me, between my first year and my second year, a lot has changed. So, both years I've studied full-time. Within my first year, I was sort of working still, but I was living with my parents, and I had a lot more time to do things, I think, and obviously the work is a lot easier in your first year. In second year, there is a big step up, I think, in the level that they expect from you. It is harder to get those really, really good marks. So you have to really try, you have to manage your time really well, because the assignments are usually a lot longer and they expect a lot more from you. That being said, I did that while still working full time. I moved out of my parents' house and I am currently pregnant. So in terms of doing things differently, for me personally, I don't think I would have reduced the number of credits that I studied regardless of my situation, purely because I want to get my degree finished within 3 years. However, the way I go about things might not be the way that you should go about things. So if you think you'd struggle with a step up with the workload, or if you do have a lot going on and you think it'll be hard to juggle, then I would say don't study full-time, study part-time. The Open University gives you 12 whole years in which you can take to complete your degree. You don't have to do it in 3. I am choosing to do it in 3, and I am choosing to take on all that extra workload. So I'm fully aware of how much I'm going to have to do and how much I'm going to have to adjust my lifestyle to compensate for that. So yeah, I did find there was a definite step up with the level of work and the quality they expect of that work. And I didn't make things easy for myself either, because I had a lot going on, like in my personal life, but my tutors were fantastic. Whenever I emailed them with a query, or if I needed an extension, they were really, really helpful, and they completely understood my situation because I explained it from the start. And even at my exams, because I was 36 weeks pregnant when I took my second year exams, they were really lovely then as well. I was allowed to have extra toilet breaks, you know, you can eat and drink in there anyway, but they were very attentive. They kept checking that I was okay, and just the whole experience was really lovely. So yeah, I don't think I'd change the way I did things, but I don't think I could have managed to take on any more than what I did do in that year, if that makes sense. Question number 8. Some people have not had a happy experience with the OU, but you've always been really positive about your course. Is there anything that has not met expectations, specifically support from tutors? So I kind of answered this in my last question. My tutors were really helpful and very supportive. However, I know that not everyone's tutors are like that, and it can be luck of the draw sometimes with the OU. But I'm pretty sure that there are ways you can request to change tutor. There are student support services available, so if you do feel that your tutor's not doing their bit, then you can complain about it, and there are people that you can speak to get support. With that being said, in terms of what's not met my expectations and what's disappointed me, etc., I think that sometimes the level of reading and the workload is a lot in terms of the run up to exams. So my second year was the first year that I did exams with the university. In my first year I didn't have any exams, it was all assignment based, and I feel like this subject is such a broad subject. There was so much to read and so much to revise. It was really hard to congest the information down so that you knew really what you needed to study, and I didn't feel there was as much guidance on revision as what there could have been provided from the OU. However, tutors were posting sort of revision guides and things onto the group forums, etc. So there were resources available. I just feel like we weren't given as much direction. With that being said though, there are a lot of past papers available, so I am kind of nitpicking really. My experiences have all been positive to date, and I have had really supportive tutors, and I understand and I appreciate that not everyone has had such a good experience, but I will email my tutors and I will ask questions and I will speak to student support and I will seek out other students that are studying and ask them questions, and I'm very sort of proactive. I think if you're not going to be proactive about the situation and try and change it and try and make it better, then you're just going to be stuck in a bad situation and you'll get that kind of negative mindset about it. So I think if there's something you're not happy with, then act on it, and usually they'll be very accommodating and try and help you. If you're just going to sit there and moan, then it's not going to change. They're not going to know to change either. So I just think if you have an opinion that is negative, then you need to voice it, but you need to voice it to the appropriate people at the university so that they can help you. However, I've not had anything too negative I've needed to voice, and whenever I have had a query, I've always been helped. So yeah, I have had a positive experience overall. Question number 9 is, how do I manage my time studying? So basically, you do really have to commit if you're going to study full-time like I am. You need to make sure that you're able to balance the workload and your other commitments. So if you do work full-time, so like I did end up reducing my hours this year at work, simply because with everything else going on in my personal life, I just couldn't manage to do the full-time study plus full-time work plus grow a human and move house, etc, etc. But that being said, I was still working 30 hours a week, which meant I do have to cut down a lot on sort of social time. My partner, he plays football at the weekends, so I would do a lot of my studying all throughout a Saturday daytime and Sunday morning and Friday evenings, and there was times where I would miss out on social things, or I'd choose not to go out and do something because I had to get my work done. So yeah, you do have to make sacrifices, you do have to plan, but with that being said, if it's a subject that you enjoy or if it's something you really want to do, then you'll find the time to do it. And I don't know, in terms of managing my time, if I know what I've got to do and I know when my deadlines are, then everything tends to get done. So that does lead me on to question number 10, which is, what is my number 1 study tip? And I have to say that my number 1 tip is to really manage your time. If you're distance learning, like you are with the Open University, then it's you that's in charge of your studying, you're the one that's in charge of your time, and you're not going to have people physically in front of you, like you're not going to have a tutor there every other day at a lecture saying you need to do this by this date, etc, etc. You need to really self-motivate yourself. So what I like to do at the beginning of a module or at the beginning of a year, I get out like an academic calendar. So I really like the ones that you can put on the wall so you can see like the whole year in front of you, and I'll mark off each assignment date and each exam date, so I've got like a really visual representation of when things are due to be done, and then you can see how long you've got in between each assignment in between each date, and if you're studying more than one module, it's really important that you know when you've got deadlines for which modules, so you can try and sort of accommodate your study time to suit those deadlines. Also, what I'll do before I start studying a block within a module, I'll look ahead to the assignment and I'll read through the assignment guidelines, and in the guidelines it usually says to you what sort of chapters are going to be relevant to this assignment, or where they're looking for you to incorporate specific information from specific chapters. So that way when I do work my way through the block, when I get to those chapters, I can already start making notes ready for my assignment, and I can start thinking about, okay, how is this going to be relevant to the essay that I'm going to write at the end of this block. So if you skip ahead, read the assignment, read what's going to be relevant, and then start working your way through, then you know exactly what you're going to need to get really good marks in that assignment. That's not to say that you shouldn't study the rest of the block, obviously, because if you have exams, then anything from that block could come up in the exam. But if you're pushed for time, then the guidelines usually tell you what they're going to be looking for. So again, manage your time and read the assignment guidelines, and yeah, that's my tip. So that's everything for this video. If you enjoyed it, then please do give me a thumbs up. Leave any comments with any more questions down below, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out on part 2 of this video, which is more sort of specific questions about the OU and not so much about my experience. So that's it from me. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in my next one. Bye!